All right, guys. Uncommon Sense Man here. I'm venting out loud, so I thought I might as well make a video about this. I am beyond frustrated with the stupidity of the people in this country. Like, at some point, you morons have to think for yourselves. You can't just be told how you feel by the damn TikTok algorithm or the Facebook algorithm or the freaking corporate media algorithm. We now have an entire group of people in this country, the left, radical Marxist nut jobs that pretend to be about democracy, that now want to continue the war between Ukraine and Russia. They want the war to continue. That is their argument. That is what they're saying. That's, I mean, literally what they're saying. Not even like, the crazy part is I thought people were trolling when I kept seeing all these memes coming out. We stand with Ukraine, keep fighting, and all that stuff. Why is the road so bumpy here? I don't ever remember this road being this bumpy. And they keep putting all these stupid memes out and attacking Trump and attacking JD Vance for sticking up for America. And I just think to myself, and I'm like, are they trolling or are they dumb? Like, they can't be that dumb that they didn't see how staged that whole thing was. Like, okay. So here's an education for all you guys. I don't like what I have to say. Prove me wrong. I used to have these debates. I think of one in particular with two people I worked with. They were leftist morons. Morons. They made statements like, I said about immigrants coming in, murderers and rapists coming across the border. 15,000 of them found guilty coming across our border and now walking around our country as free people because they were let out of their country's jails. And it's not a conspiracy theory. It actually happened. So they said, yeah, we'll let you out. Go to America. And they said, oh, people only care about rape when it's an immigrant. Are you serious? Is that a joke? Like, is that really your point? That's your comeback to, it's not okay for criminal immigrants to walk amongst our people and rape and kill people in our country, is I only care because it's an immigrant? Like, how do you respond to stupidity like that? How does a logical person come back to somebody who says something so ridiculous that on its face it's ridiculous and you go, what? No, of course we care about rape and murder. What? You know what I mean? Like, you only defend it because you're being told to defend it. Because you're being told how to think. The end of the 80s into the 90s, we had the unification of Germany. Gorbachev was given a deal, and he said, I will agree to the unification of Germany if you agree not for NATO to come any further east. I don't want NATO on the borders of Russia. You guys stay where you are, we'll stay where we are, and this will be the official end of World War II. The unification of Germany, we will back away, and you agree to that. No problem. Didn't take Clinton but a couple years, and he said, you know what? I'm going to sign off on letting Romania come in and Poland and one other. And it was like, and I'm going to sign off on an expectation of eventually Ukraine joining NATO. Some say it was a bargaining chip against Russia. It clearly was a violation of the treaty. We did this. I'm all pro-America, 100%. But a spade is a spade. If we did it, we did it. It doesn't matter how you feel. You got to tell the truth. And the truth is, we violated the treaty. So that was the beginning of Putin invading Ukraine. That's where it started. Then in 99, we bombed Serbia. Then we started putting missile silos in Eastern Europe. We started putting missile silos and bases all along the Russian border. In the 90s, for all you idiots on the left and all you uneducated people who think you're educated because you know who was the person of art in the 14th century French history, you're a moron. Unnecessary, useless information. In the 90s, the neocons started invading our government. These are people who want constant war. That's what they want. They are the people that have been running our government. This is not a conspiracy theory. At this point, it has to become common sense. It's as dumb as people saying we shouldn't be firing federal employees. They're all heroes that work so hard. It has been a running joke in our country for generations. How useless township employees are, state employees are, and government employees are. How they can't do anything. They're the most incompetent, lazy employees on the planet. Why? Because when they get their job, you can't get rid of them. And they know it. So they get the job. And then since COVID, they don't even come into work anymore. I have a personal friend that applied for 20 jobs in the federal government. I asked her, why are you applying for all these jobs? Oh, it's great. If you get the job, you don't even have to go in. You barely have to work and you get a paycheck. That's exactly what she said. And that is exactly the mindset. And then because it was Trump who said, hey, no, this is a bad idea. This doesn't work. That's taxpayer money being abused and stolen. These people are not working. Doesn't matter that he's in the right. Everybody knows. There's no debate. Everybody knows he's right. They still argue. They still, oh, Trump bad. This is a threat to democracy. Everything's an existential threat to democracy. You know, like just not voting in your primary candidate and just saying, here you go, this is what you're getting. That might be a threat to democracy. No, we have a different understanding of democracy. When you're on the left, you can't think for yourself. So you start saying words don't mean what they mean. That's the only way I can explain it. The things that come out of their mouths, I'm like, you people can't be serious. Like, you can't really say that appointing Kamala Harris, appointing her as your representative who got no votes, is the way you're going to fight the threat to democracy. Do you not know what that word means? That being said, then we bombed Serbia, right? We did that for a while. This was bad. This was Russian territory, bombing it, back and forth. You know what happened. Then we started putting more missile bases over there and everything else. Then we did a soft coup. We changed ownership. You know what I mean? Like, we were involved in the beginning, in 04, I think it was. And there was another one in like 09-ish. And then we put Zelensky in power, you know? And don't get it twisted. Like, how do you not, by now you guys have seen behind the curtains with how world governments work and how, I mean, there's enough on social media now for you to wake up and understand that the World Health Organizations and the International Monetary Funds and all these things are not your friend. They have a different agenda for the planet, and we are not on their plan. We are mouth breathers. We are resource eaters. That's all they look at us as. Work, soldiers, employees, that's it. We are not the owners. They are. And they have a different agenda. Why do you think you flood Western countries with brown people from the Middle East and South America and Central America who don't speak the language, who don't speak the culture, and are going to overrun infrastructures and systems and everything else? You're doing it for a reason. It's not for the good of the country, and it's not because you're trying to be anti-racist, which is just, So then we put Zelensky in power, and he starts banging the beat of drum. I want to go to NATO. I want to go to NATO and NATO. Putin kept saying, no, Ukraine cannot go into NATO. That is an act of war. That is not a joke. We knew, probably weren't going to let Ukraine in NATO because we don't want to push that. We didn't want to push that lever. Did we say anything about it? No. He took Crimea. Obama did nothing. He put some sanctions and went like that. Trump took office. Putin didn't step out of line the entire time. I don't care that you need to say Orange Man bad so often. You can't lie with the facts. You all sat there and screamed on social media and corporate media. If Trump takes office, he's going to march us into World War III. And then literally no war started for 4 years. Those are the facts, not your opinions or your feelings. Those are the facts. Putin didn't step out of line. And then we got weak leader Biden, and look, I support Biden. He was my president. I mean, I like some things he did, but I support the president no matter what. And then we got weak leader Biden, and it just became, another weak leader. They didn't do anything when I invaded Crimea, and he was the vice president, so he ain't gonna do nothing when he's the president. I'm not even sure if this guy's weak. I'm gonna start what I gotta do, because I gotta stop them from letting Ukraine join NATO. That was going on. We did that. Okay, I'm pro-America. I don't want to bash America saying we caused the war, which we know we did. Let's flip it. Russia starts building military bases in Mexico City. How do you think we settle with that? China starts building military bases in Ontario and put missile silos there. What do you think America does? Would you all defend America then, even if Trump's president, to stop China from putting missile bases on the border of the northern border of the country? Probably not, because leftists are nuts. But most people would be like, yeah, no, that we can't allow that. Okay, now put yourself in Putin's shoes. That doesn't shut up. It doesn't mean that Putin's not a bad guy. Putin's getting a tough situation, and when there's situations like he's in, authoritarian governments take over. That's just how it is. That is what happens every single time. China, that guy made himself emperor for life. Putin made himself some position for life. Make no mistake about it. I don't care what his label is. He runs the country. That's it. Been that way now for 20 years. You know what I mean? It's not changing for 30 years. I don't know. Whatever it's been. It's not changing. He invades Ukraine. We start funneling weapons over there, right? Both sides, Republicans and Democrats. Oh no, we have to support this big narrative. The big bad villain invaded Ukraine. I'm Ukrainian, so I don't want to hear it. The big bad villain invaded Ukraine, and we got to get as much money over there as we can and support Ukraine. So they send over a $50 billion weapons package, then $100 billion weapons package, and then more weapons package. They just keep sending weapons over there. And like Tucker Carlson is exposing now, and then Zelensky says, yeah, I don't know where all these weapons are going, but I only got about $75 billion in weapons. I don't know about this hundreds of billions. I don't know what you're talking about. And then the leader of Poland says, yeah, you need to find out where these weapons are going because they're getting sold and the money is getting shipped back to the people that voted for this war and to send the weapons over there. The American politicians are getting the money. Are you waking up yet? Are you catching on, leftist nut jobs? Morons. Selling our weapons for 20 cents on the dollar to Syrian Islamic jihadists, ISIS, Mexican cartels, and so forth. Because there's plenty of bad people that don't like us that are now buying our weapons and going to target our soldiers with those weapons. And you're okay with this because it's got to be Orange Man bad. That's it, Orange Man bad. Two things can exist at the same time. Putin can be a piece of crap. He can hurt people. He can push down his media. He can lead with an iron fist. And I don't got to like him. But you cannot say he had no reason to invade Ukraine. You just can't be that dumb. I just gave you 30 years of reasons. If anything, Putin was restrained. Did you know Putin went to Clinton and said, I want to join NATO? What do you guys think of that, huh? He said, I don't want to be an enemy of the United States anymore. I want to be an ally. How great would that have been had Russia joined us like they did in World War II? And then what would that have done to China's expansion? Because now we have Russia to the north as our ally. And then maybe we can start putting bases in Russia, right? And then China wouldn't be so emboldened to do the things they're doing now. This is how geopolitics work. You morons that watch a TikTok video and then are so opinionated on stuff you know nothing about. You're too stupid to think, so stop doing it. Come to my channel, I'll teach you something, all right? I challenge anybody on here to prove anything I just said wasn't true. Doesn't matter if you didn't like hearing it. It's all true. So now, Zelensky goes to, Trump comes up with this idea. And he says, I can end the war. All right? Zelensky says, I want American soldiers in Ukraine. Right? You know, Europe, all the guys that right now are like, we support Ukraine. Screw Trump. We got his back. We're going to loan him $5 billion. You know? Wow. If we gave him $5 billion and he took it, stole it, nobody would care. You know what I mean? Like, that's your big support? What's $5 billion in weapons going to do in a loan? What are you going to do with it? Fight for a week? You know what weapons cost? Especially at the prices we pay? Yeah, if you spend $5 billion on the Russian market and bought their weapons, you'd get a decent deal. But in American markets, the same, I think 76 millimeter, 107 millimeter, whatever it is, 105 millimeter shell that we use for our artillery, we pay the military-industrial complex, the neocon guys that want constant war, $7,600 a piece for them. That same shell is made in Russia for $750. Same shell, same accuracy, same quality. It's the same thing. It's a very simple thing. Why do they get to make it for 10 cents on the dollar? Where does the other 90 cents go, I wonder? Think about it, guys. Stop falling victim to this. Jesus, it's so frustrating how stupid you people are. You're literally pushing us to World War III, and the neocons are back there laughing, going, man, these guys don't believe anything. We just tell them anything. So now Zelensky spends 10 days being difficult, fighting with Rubio, fighting with J.D. Vance about getting this deal through. Trump negotiates a deal. He says, hey, you have a bunch of natural rare earth elements. We want them. We need them. You guys do not have the infrastructure or ability to mine them. So they're just sitting there. You know what I mean? This whole, like, don't give platform to North Korea or Russia or China because they're bad guys. Are you that dumb when the media tells you that stuff, you believe it? What do you want to do? Just fight everybody? No, we have to find common ground to stop the wars. You Americans, as a country, are disgustingly entitled because you're not the ones over there. My son goes over there. I don't want him over there. I don't want another war. I don't want another Afghanistan, Iraq. You people that don't fight wars need to shut your mouths because some people's kids do go over there and some people's kids will go over there if it blows off even worse. Disgusting. You guys should be embarrassed to make the arguments that you make. So then after 10 days, Zelensky shows up at the White House. He shows up in a black sweater shirt and a pair of slacks. Okay, for all you idiots, when you're going to meet the President of the United States, the leader of the free world, bar none, you wear a tie. That's it. And for you guys, you academia elitist scum on the left, to pretend that that's just ridiculous. What do you mean? I got you one. For all you idiots on the left that want to always argue your woke nonsense and just garbage that you come up with. If Trump didn't wear a tie at that meeting, what do you think the media would have done? If he showed up in a sweater and a pair of pants, like he was going to play golf, a polo shirt, what do you think the media would have done? You're going to sit there right now and look into the screen and say, oh no, the media wouldn't have attacked him for the next 12 hours straight about how disrespectful our president is to the position of president, and this is why he needs to be impeached, and an existential crisis to democracy, and how he's so disrespectful to Zelensky. Tell me you don't think that's true. And if you say you don't think that's true, you're lying. You're lying to yourself, you ain't lying to me. We all know the way he was dressed was inappropriate, and it was intentional. So then, for all you idiots out there that are like all these pundits that get on MSNBC and all these fake news media, the same people that own MSNBC, CBS, ABC, NBC, they're the same people that own the military-industrial complex. Just get that clear. They're the same people. They're the same organizations, the same hedge funds, and the same leaders. They own them both. How do you think MSNBC stays on the air? Shows like The View and all these Joy Reids and all these nonsense. They're not making money off those shows. They're pushing propaganda. Do some research. You got freaking MSNBC shows with a host like Rachel Maddow who's their top show. You know, you got so many shows that they got 300,000 viewers for the 2 hours. You got YouTubers that get 10 times that. But they're paying that lady $10 million a year to do a show that gets 300,000 viewers. You think they're making money off that show? Come on. Seriously? You don't know math, and you don't know the cost of these things. I'm not just talking about her salary. There's 60 people that go into the production of that show that have to be paid. And there's all kinds of overhead. Come on. So then they have that big argument. And all you idiots are posting these things and all these pundits because they get paid to say these things. And your dumbasses believe them. And they say, oh my God, it was the most disrespectful thing that's ever happened to the White House. Clutch my pearls again. I'm so tired of these people. I want these people to disappear. You're not real people. Go stick your pinky out and drink your little freaking drinks and eat your avocado toast crap and just get away from me. They're so hypocritical. They're such disgusting individuals. They're so fake. He gets in the argument in front of the media after disrespecting the White House. Somebody in the crowd, one of the senators that made a comment, I don't know what, Secretary of State, maybe, somebody said something to him about his clothes. And then he starts talking. And J.D. Vance calls him out on it. And I don't look. Sorry. J.D. Vance is a very, very competent, smart man. You could say whatever you want. All you MSNBC racist hosts that make your comments, whatever. The truth is the truth. There's the same idiots like a Joy Reid that says Elon Musk isn't a genius. And AOC says he's the dumbest billionaire she ever met. How do you respond to people like this? How can you respond to somebody who says Elon Musk is dumb? You were a freaking bartender. But Elon Musk is dumb. The guy who wrote the code for PayPal and ZipFile and took over Tesla and Starlink and, the Boring Company and, the richest guy in the world. But he's dumb. That's what you think. You think he's dumb. He's the dumbest billionaire you ever met. Why even argue with people like that? What is the point? And then they're the same stupid people that think, if you actually believe these points, that if Elon sees my social security number, he's going to steal my grandma's check. The guy was worth $300 billion. No, okay, he was worth $400 billion 3 months ago. And he'll be worth $800 billion or $900 billion as soon as Starlink goes public. Oh, they don't tell you that. They ain't telling you how much money Elon really has. He owns 90% of Starlink or some crap. Some ridiculous amount. When that goes public for $700 billion, guess who's your first trillionaire? But you believe the media when they tell you your private information is at risk because Elon Musk is going to see and his people are going to see your social security number. Do you understand how stupid you are? Can you imagine? The guy who has so much money, he doesn't even care about money. He doesn't even understand what money is anymore. He could literally buy everything he sees all day, every day, and not even notice. Just wouldn't even notice it because he has so much of it. And then when Starlink goes public, he's now a trillionaire, the only trillionaire on the planet, but you think he's coming after your grandmother's check. That's your argument. How can you really think that? You can't be that dumb. I understand you're a victim of the psyop that is social media and corporate media and what they do. I get it. You got to figure it out, though. At some point, you got to say, okay, wait a minute. Now they're telling me the richest guy in the world is trying to steal my grandma's Social Security. Come on. They're telling me that probably one of the smartest men that's ever lived is dumb. Not as intelligent as they think. He's dumb. There's a video about the guy who owns NVIDIA. It is the biggest chip manufacturer in the world. It builds the big bad chips that everybody wants, that all the AI servers are using and everything else. The whole world is fighting for his chips. He runs a company that is the cream of the crop on the planet when it comes to revenue, profit margins, everything like that. You want to buy stock long term? There's your stock. That will be the first $10 trillion company. Guaranteed. I would put my life on it. It's just a matter of how quickly it happens. 2 years, 4 years. It's going to happen. They got a hit in the last movement. They're down to like $1.20 a share, 24. It's going to go over 200. It's over 250. Their profit margins are over 70%. And they do $150 billion every quarter. Like, do math, guys. They're going to be huge. And they're growing. They're not shrinking. So, he makes a video and he talks about how Elon had to build a server building. They call it a data center. You don't understand how big these buildings are. You really don't. They're the biggest buildings you've ever seen in your life. Wall to ceiling with servers, liquid cooled, foundation, building, computer set, online, powered, permitted, the works in 17 days. Watch the video. He says, I don't think there's another person on the planet who could have accomplished that. Bar none. He says, you don't even understand. It should have took 18 months. He goes, he did it in less than he did it in half a month. I don't even know what to say. The guy literally, one of the smartest men alive, says, you really can't appreciate that he's probably the only person on the planet who understands engineering and big systems the way he does and can bring it together on a timeline and get something like that done, powered up in 17 days. It's like if they built, I don't know, the Freedom 1 Tower in a month. If somebody did it in 30 days, it was done. What would you say? Oh my God, like who was in charge of this? And make no mistake about it. Just because you're not the guy putting the bolt in, the guy who puts it together, there's your brains. There's your guy. So they get in this fight in the White House. And J.D. Vance calls him out. And he says, hey, this should not be litigated in front of the American media like you asked. See, he asked that the media stay. And you gotta listen. You don't want to listen to me? Watch the whole 50-minute video. Forget Orange Man Bad that you've been geared to believe. Watch the whole 50-minute video. Watch how cordial Trump is to him. Trump defends him about his clothes because somebody makes a comment about not wearing a tie. So I like the way he looks. Trump's trying to do right. J.D. Vance keeping it good. And then ask yourself, if those negotiations never happen in front of the press, but Zelensky wanted to have that argument in front of the press, why? They're trying to tell you that JD and Trump wanted that and jumped. Like, it's just stupid. It's like, what? No, come on. You're not thinking clearly. You don't really believe this stuff, but you need to because you're convinced that Orange Man bad. It's all you know. It's ridiculous. Ooh, he's a racist. He's a threat to democracy. As he stops wars, that's a threat to democracy. When the information doesn't match your reality, you got to rethink your reality. I'm not saying Donald Trump is perfect. I'm not saying I even like the guy. But the stuff that you're arguing doesn't match the facts. It doesn't match reality. Donald Trump's a threat to the press, but he's hiding what he's doing. But in his first month in office, he answered over 1,000 questions. Joe Biden answered like 108 in the last year in office. The whole year. How do you balance that? That he's doing something in secret, but he's answered over 1,000 questions himself the first month and keeps the press in on everything. So Zelensky agreed to sign the deal. This is the deal. Let me show you how it works. They say, all right, listen, you have all these mineral rights. We're going to go in there. We're going to get them. You can't get them. We need them. You don't have the infrastructure or the money. And we'll split the proceeds with you. so that you'll get money off this. It could make $500 million or $1 trillion over the course of 5 to 10 years. And that could really help you to rebuild your country. Now think about this. As soon as he offered that deal, Putin was like, well, we have rare earth elements too. Can we make a deal? You make the deal. American corporations go in there, they make their profits, and they start getting these rare earth elements that we need. Because China has them all. You idiots. The things that we are going to need to exist, to compete, and to survive in the future are things that end with words like, biorectate and, selenium or something, like weird metals. They're metals that we need, that without them, we can't build certain things, microchips and processors and transistors or whatever, all this. It's above my pay grade. But I know these things are important. Rhodium, whatever. There's commodities in there too, but it's the rare earth elements ones. They're rare because there's not a lot of them, and we need them. And we can't mine them in America because the left doesn't want to see any mining. Okay, well, we got to get them somewhere. So that's the hypocrisy of the left. Don't drill your oil here. Don't mine your stuff here. And I get it. It's a dirty business, and maybe there should be more regulations to get them to stop being dirty, but it has to be done. But it's okay to do it in third world countries. We'll just pretend we don't know about it. I'll still use my Apple phone, even though child slave labor made it. You know what I mean? Like, you're so fake. So we go in there and we get those rare earth elements, and that becomes a no-go zone. It's not talking about like the size of a town here. We're talking multiple state regions. Whole areas will start getting marked off as, hey, this is where we're mining. And Russia has to go, okay, I don't want to attack Americans, so I'm kind of stuck. See how we get Americans into Ukraine? They're kind of off limits. Nobody likes to mess with Americans because we got Trump in the military. Then we make a deal with Putin. We do the same thing with him. Do you think that pushes him closer to China or away from China? Because the edge China has on us right now is they have all the rare earth elements, the things that we need. I'm in the solar business. We need things that are in China. Can't get to them. It's a big problem right now, right? Wouldn't it be great to get them somewhere else? Like, these are not debatable. These are not points that we go, well, this is my perspective. This is common sense. This is just, we make the deal with Putin. We make the deal with Ukraine, right? Guess what that does? That stops the guns from firing. You disgusting human beings that think Ukraine should just be fodder for your war machine. The guns stop fighting. Then there has to be negotiations. And we say, hey, Russia, we need you to give us a little back here. You're going to keep Crimea, but you got to give this land back in the Donbass region or whatever they're called. And then Ukraine will give back a little this area here that they took from Russia and let that go back to Russia. And we'll put back the original lines. And you save face and we save face. But now we have an economic agreement. And we are going to put some U.S. soldiers there to protect our mining. But we know Russia's not going to violate that. Zelensky said, oh, well, they don't stand by their agreements. That's all propaganda. It's not true. It's just not. It's just not true. Yeah, I'm sure there's an example of Putin breaking an agreement. Don't get me wrong. All leaders do it, including Zelensky and including America. But this agreement, because of the money factor, will hold. People will work together. Yes, corporations are going to come in and make a lot of money. Good. And the rare earth element's going to come back to America. Great. There'll be tons of jobs for American workers. There'll be tons of jobs for Ukrainian workers. There'll be tons of jobs for Russian workers. Why is that bad? Why is it always got to be bad, good, black, white like that? Come on. I'm Ukrainian. I'm part Russian. Like, they're all good people. We're the people. We're the ones getting screwed by the leaders. And we finally have a leader that has found a balance between taking care of himself and his buddies and protecting America at the same time. You really think that's what Biden's agenda was? You know Netanyahu made a joke out of Biden and 40,000 Palestinians died because of it. He ignored them. And then we still gave him the weapons to kill the women and children in Palestine while you people are protesting saying, protect Biden. So that's how it works. We get the economic agreement for the mining, get it through both countries. We push Russia away from China, which is what we want. Because in the end, if there's going to be a war with anybody, it's not going to be Russia. That's a lie that the media has been telling you for a long time. Putin bad. They never say, well, it's unfortunate because he did try to join NATO and partner with us and we rejected him. No, they never say that. Because the neocons needed an enemy. And you idiots listen to what you see on TikTok and Instagram and MSNBC and don't think for yourselves. Doesn't mean Putin's a good guy. I'm sure he's got plenty of bodies. But two things can exist at the same time. We get to deal with Putin. We get to deal with Ukraine. The shooting stops. We have to negotiate lines. And then it's done. Ukraine does not join NATO. Doesn't need to. We move some missiles back. Russia's good. We're good. But then we're getting better terms with Russia. Now we get a peace agreement with Russia. Now we get a trade agreement with Russia. Now we're working with Russia. Why do we want them as our enemy? Think about that. Why is the media so hell-bent on making sure Russia is our enemy? Russia hasn't done anything really to us. Really think about it. Oh, Russian interference in the elections. That's what you got. You know what I mean? Turned out to be nonsense. Oh, our bad. You know what I mean? A couple hackers in, Romania, whatever, that were Russian-born did some stuff, They didn't prove any of that. And none of it. There was so much of it, but they didn't prove any of it. The Russian investigation came up flat. Trump was in bed with Putin. I want Trump in bed with Putin. He's one of our biggest enemies. Why wouldn't you want him as an ally? I don't understand how they convince you of such things that you got to be really dumb to not understand that you want Russia as our ally because China is the threat. I dated a Chinese woman many moons ago. And she said to me, America will not win. Everybody in China knows America is the enemy. And we work together as a country. It is country first, then job and family. That's how it is. And God is nowhere in the mix. America, she says, you're all individuals. You fight with each other over everything. You're never going to beat us. We have too many people pushing in the same direction. You guys are too divided. A nation divided. Read your history books. We don't want to fall. So we get those agreements. Then Zelensky shows up at the White House. And he throws a fit. He makes some disrespectful comments. He did. You can't deny it. J.D. Vance calls him out on it. And he says, I think it's disrespectful that you're trying to litigate this in front of the American media that you asked for them to stay when these things should be discussed behind closed doors. And then, okay, so this is how, again, you need to know when you're being lied to. All the pundits on MSNBC and CBS are all coming out, and all the paid pundits on all the social media guys. These guys get paid by the DNC to say what they say. Like the Tom Sissies and Brian Cohens, they're all fake. They're all fake. Dollar, they're all fake. They get paid a lot of money. They're propagandists. That's what they do. Rachel Maddow's and stuff. They don't care they're not telling the truth because they're getting money. And you're a sucker. And they're getting money because you're listening to them. They tell you this is the first time world leaders have ever been so disrespectful in the White House. And they've never seen, this is 50 years or 100 years of peace agreements between Europe and America thrown out the window. You really think that it lasts since World War II? American presidents and world leaders having had shouting matches in the White House, having disagreed to the point of insults and threats, and having gone back. The people that run countries are egomaniacs. We all can agree on this. They're not, reincarnations of Jesus Christ. They're not. They become presidents. You have to be the most driven, most diabolical, most obsessive people on the planet. You do not get to the position of president without having many bodies hidden somewhere. That's just reality, guys. I know you're children and you like to think like children. You like this pie in the sky, butterflies and rainbows world. That's not the truth, though. Come on. They're all criminals. They all got to do things. Would it be better if they weren't? Yeah, of course. It'd be a better world. But can we stop lying? Like, come on. There's been you're the same idiots who listen to the MSNBC say Donald Trump making that comment is the most disrespectful and crude president we've ever had. Lyndon Johnson used to show his member to the staff because he was a well-endowed man and he wanted them to see it. Bill Clinton, I'm not even going to touch that one. You do your research. But Trump is the most crude and disrespectful president we ever had. Like, does it even matter if it's true to you guys? It doesn't matter, right? Just, who cares if it's completely ridiculous? Kennedy ran so many women through the White House. Oh my God. You gotta be kidding me. You gotta be kidding me. Like, why is it just they say it and you believe it? Zelensky throws his fight in front of the press. J.D. Vance sticks up for him, and then he threatens us. He says, right now you don't feel it because of this big ocean, but soon you'll be feeling it. What do you think he meant by that? What do you think? Oh, influence is what I meant. No, that's not what that was. That was a threat. That was a threat to World War III. That was a threat saying our enemies are going to be infiltrating our country and causing us problems. That is a unbelievable statement to make to another country. And you can say what you want. Watch the video, you fake liars on the left. Trump was very good up until that point. And then he got pissed. He got pissed to the point where I thought he wanted to hit him. Like, he kept touching him. He was mad. Like, he was mad. You don't get to tell us how we're going to feel. You don't got the cards. What he's saying is, if we don't keep sending you billions and tens of billions of dollars in weapons, you're going to lose anyways. Because Europe is not stepping up. Yeah, they're going to step up on Twitter and on Insta media or corporate media and say, no, we stand with Ukraine. You can stand with Ukraine. We stand with Ukraine. Just not with our money no more. We're not going to pay for this no more. And the military-industrial complex pays millions of dollars to these scum on Instagram and Facebook and TikTok, the sissies, the Brian Tyler Cohens, the MSNBC reps, to keep pushing it. Oh, look what Trump did. Trump bad. Trump bad. You got to support Ukraine. We got to keep the war going. And you buy it? You don't just say, well, wait a minute. Like, I don't care what Trump did. If he wants to end the war, that should be the starting point. We just got to figure out how. You know what I mean? Zelensky agreed to the agreement. He was coming to sign it. When he showed up without a tie on, that should have been a red flag, and I think it was. But they're not going to tell you that. Because if somebody in the crowd, a member of the cabinet, got in an argument with Zelensky about the way he was dressed, it's because they knew what was up. They knew something was up. And Trump even said, I know you want to do this in front of the media. That's why I let it go on so long. I wanted people to see. And then they knew that the corporate media was going to twist it. And J.D. Vance and Trump bad. Why would you not want a president that stands up for you? Why do you want an apologist president that goes around the world saying he's sorry to everybody and just giving our money away? These are not Americans. These are globalists. They put people in power. They put Obama there. They clearly put Biden there, and they tried to put Kamala there. For him to come to the White House, agree to it, and then in the last 5 minutes of that video, get disrespectful and oh no, this, that, and want to argue that in front of all the people instead of behind closed doors like they're supposed to. And then they sign the agreement, and then afterwards the press leaks, oh, there was some heated moments between the two, and they tell their little stories, and that's it. That's how it always happens. Do your history. This isn't the first time a foreign leader came to the White House and there was a disagreement. Like, come on. You want what? The president to allow him to be disrespectful to America? And this is the part you're not getting. That's what you're saying. Because that's what the media is saying. You know, this is the worst example of, whatever. It's always extremes, hyperbole, nonsense. And you idiots just go, yeah, okay, duh, I'm a sheep. I'll just go along with this. We have a $2 trillion deficit right now, year after year. We pay $1 trillion to service said debt. There are numbers that are being hit. Percentage of overall debt to GDP, annual deficit to GDP, cost of servicing the deficit to GDP. None of these things are good. So for all you morons who don't understand how money works, when there is a deficit, they sell bonds to get money to pay the bills. And the scum banks buy them. They buy the bonds, and that's why your interest rates are so high, because the bond rate is what controls your interest rate, not the Fed. They buy those bonds. So they're introducing more currency into the pool. All right? You can understand. You're with me so far. That's where inflation comes from. Your money is debt. It's an inflationary system. You have to balance your budget. You balance your budget and start making a profit as a country, then the value of the US dollar will go up, not down. All right? They say, oh, it's going up against all the other countries in the world. Yeah, but we're also getting inflation where it's going down for us. You're paying that deficit, whether you like it or not. If your house, let's say you go grocery shop, you spend $100 on food, right? And next year, you got to spend $110 on the same food. And next year, you spend $120 and then $130. And you're doing this year after year. You're paying that because the government is overspending. and they keep bringing extra money into the circulation. So that's just what happens to money. If everybody in the room had $100 to work with, and you're trading for like, oh, I need to buy a pair of shoes, and let's say there's 10 people in a house, and they say, hey, can I rent? I need to sleep in that bedroom tonight. Oh, it's going to be $1. Da, da, da. And then someone comes in and throws $900 on the floor. Say, here, guys, do you think they're still going to rent the room for $1? Because there's not $100 amongst 10 people anymore. Now there's $1,000 amongst 10 people. Well, if you want to sleep in a bed, now it's going to be $2 or $3. When they add the money to the system, are you getting it? No, you're not. It's going to the banks and the people that own things. So why does that matter? When you own things, you don't care about inflation as much. Because when things get inflated, the things that you own mean you get more money. So even though the value of the money goes down, you get more of it. Who doesn't get more of it? The middle class and the poor who don't own things. We live check to check. We make money. We pay bills. We try to put a little away. And it gets eaten up by inflation. I'm in solar. AC Electric's about to jump the rate on electric 18% at once. It's like, this isn't going to stop, guys. Zelensky did it on purpose. Whatever his agenda is, I'm not going to guesstimate what's going on. He doesn't want peace. He doesn't want peace on anyone's terms. This guy, Zelensky, you're going to pretend he's like a world leader. He was like a joke comedy guy. Look at the videos of him. How we put him there. I know we did. How did he become president? I have no idea. He's not a world leader. Cut it out. He's not cut from that cloth. He's a clown. He's a thief. He's doing, like, you got Nazis in the Ukrainian party. He stopped elections. He eliminated all the other political parties. These are not democratic actions. Like, this is not debatable. You could say, all right, well, it's martial law right now, so it's hard to do an election. Absolutely true. Doesn't mean you shouldn't, but I understand. But eliminating other political parties? How do you justify that? Oppressing the media? How do you justify that? See what I mean? Like, how can you say that's the... And I know the left, you guys are idiots. Like, you literally argue that putting Kamala as the representative was to fight the threat to democracy. The woman who got 0 votes, didn't even hold a primary. Just, here you go, you got it. And you guys are all like, yep, makes sense to me. That's how dumb you are. But Trump, who went to the whole primary, and let's not kid ourselves, he didn't have to. Day one, we knew he won. You know what I mean? Everybody knew he was going to win. Everybody knew he was going to win the election too, unless they cheated again. That's it. There was no way you were beating Trump. It just wasn't. Same way that the Democrats cheated Bernie twice. Twice they cheated him. Twice they committed fraud and voter fraud to win. And now, every other day, there's somebody going to jail for voter fraud on the state and federal level. And the big press, they're not even mentioning it. There's no evidence of voter fraud. Flat out lie. And they know it. They don't care because you guys will buy it hook, line, and sinker. Because as long as it says Orange Man bad, you're good. It doesn't matter what comes after that sentence. Orange Man bad and whatever. Oh, we got to kill babies in Africa? If Orange Man said we save them, we got to kill them. That's really how dumb you people are. Now Zelensky doesn't sign the deal. Russia doesn't come to the table. And the media is trying to convince you we got to keep the war going. And you're saying what? Yes? Yes, we got to keep the war going. That's really the argument that I'm seeing all over social media right now by these idiots. And, oh, we got to fight Trump and he's a dictator and all this stuff. Come on, man. You got to think for yourself. You don't have to like Trump, but you can't argue from a false reality. You can't say something happened that didn't happen. You got to stop doing that. This is why the left is getting smaller and smaller. I was a Bernie fan. I supported Bernie 100%. I can't stand the man now. He's bought hook, line, and sinker. This stuff, okay, let me tell you why before I get done with this video, because I'm done talking about Zelensky. But you guys got to see this. You got to see this was staged. You have to know what you're looking at. You have to understand how geopolitics work. You don't have to be an expert on it, but you got to know that he did this on purpose. This was all staged. He flew to America to sign the agreement, and then in the last 7 minutes started a fight and was disrespectful and got thrown out of the White House. You think that was an accident? No, that was intentional. He did that on purpose. Why did he do it? Think. I don't know. If the war stops, then there's elections. Maybe I don't get voted in. I don't know. Maybe I can't steal any more American weapons. I don't know. Maybe I can goat America to putting troops on my land and then I get to win and then I get a piece of Russia. I don't know what his motivation is, but none of it's good. And Trump, Orange Man bad is like, you don't hold the cards. You're risking the lives of your people by the millions. You're risking World War III, and he's being attacked for this. How? What? How do you buy this? The guy who says, hey, let's not have World War III. Let's not kill any more Ukrainians. These scum, that woman on MSNBC was interviewing Trump. She's like, so are you saying that Putin was... She's trying to get her clickbait moment. And he says, I'm on the side of people stopping dying. That's what he says. And he gets attacked for it. How? You guys are supposed to be the liberals, the ones that care about people. Like, are you really that far gone? Like, I mean, how many times do you got to be lied to before you go, you know what? I'm going to take a step back. That's what I did. I was 100% Bernie Democrat, the whole thing. I knew Obama was placed there. I get it. But I still loved it. I said, okay, it's about time. Let's do this. Let's see what he does. He did a lot of bad things. More than most know. I think in the beginning, I tell myself that voting for him was good because I believed he wanted to do good. And I think he just got corrupted. But who knows? You know what I mean? Maybe there's more to it in the background that I don't know. But I know a lot of things he did that were bad. And you could be a good guy and do bad things. And you could be a bad guy and do good things. It's not black and white. It just isn't. You know, even Clinton did a great job as president in a lot of ways. The U.S., the stock market had the best years ever. But then he repealed Glass-Steagall. You know what I mean? So, you know what I mean? That was why you had the '08 bank crisis. Why did he do that? We didn't have a bank fail in 70 years, 60 years. And then he did it. And then we had failure after failure after failure after failure. And then we almost lost the whole system because the banks wanted to do it. You think he didn't get paid to do it? He did it on his way out. Did that make his entire 8 years as president null and void or whatever? I don't know. You know, did that balance it out that now he's a piece of crap? I don't know. The guy's a piece of crap anyways. You know what he's doing with the Epstein. Come on, people. It's like the same junk where they tell you nobody's ever fought in the White House and you want to buy it. Or that Elon Musk is trying to steal your Social Security check. Stop. Think for yourself. You know this doesn't feel right. You got to see it. I have a friend. He's a good guy, very intelligent. He drank the Kool-Aid. He's orange man bad 100%. And we go back and forth and argue. And he has his position, I have mine. And he says facts, but they're a little perverted, like twisted. They almost sound like propaganda. And I say facts, and I try to stick it. And he says, I drink the Kool-Aid. I said, but everything I just said was true. And everything you just said was feelings. What you think might happen. What you think could happen. You're scared of. I'm telling you what actually happened. Like, for example, Trump is going to march us into World War III. This is what I mean by how many times you got to be lied to. Did he march us into World War III? No, he didn't. So it's not true. So then you were wrong. Just say it, okay? We didn't believe that. That was wrong. We got it wrong. You know what I mean? Do they do that? No. They just think, oh no, he's going to do it again. He's a threat to democracy. He's going to march us into World War III. He did it again. When he was running against, come on, they ran the same stories. And you bought it again. It's like, we don't have to think about what he's going to do as president. We've seen it. At some point, as a country, we have to argue this stuff out and then accept what reality is. The facts, not what we think is going to happen, what our feelings are. I mean, we still argue stupid stuff like men don't have an advantage in sports. That's not a real argument. That's not a serious person. I've told you in my videos before, line me up the women you think they can kick my butt. Bring them on. I'm nobody. I'm a 49-year-old fat dude. I'll crush their, it'll be over. Cut it out. I don't care what they know. You're a little 130-pound jiu-jitsu star. Watch what I do to her. I'm sorry. Guys, I don't care. I don't care what she's got. I don't care her belts. I don't care. It's silliness to think they're going to do anything. There's just limits to this stuff. Yeah, and to say that they're at the highest level, men don't have an advantage at the high school and college level? Come on. Women have an advantage in like soccer, like 11. You know what I mean? 10 sometimes. There are girls that beat the boys. Absolutely. And then that stops. You don't believe me? 15-year-old boys AAU team beat the women's national team. These aren't debatable. These are facts. This is what happened. You could say you feel a certain way, but the truth is this is what happened. Clinton is what started the invasion in Ukraine many moons ago. Because the neocons took over and they wanted war. And they wanted war forever. They invaded Iraq on lies. And look, he's a Republican. And he's a piece of crap, him and Cheney. And now you got people getting behind Liz Cheney. Do you know how much money that family has stolen from this country? Do you know how many people have died so they could make that money? Like, these are U.S. soldiers. Not even, I'm not even going to talk about the million Iraqis. I'm not like, trust me, that matters too. Guys, we have to stop arguing fake stories. We have to stop arguing feelings and what's actually happening. Trump can be orange man bad, but that doesn't mean he's wrong here. He stood up for America. The guy threatened us. The guy reneged on a deal he was supposed to sign and did it in front of the press to cause a scene because he had someone in his ear telling him this is the way to do it. Or he went crazy, or there's some ulterior motive. I don't know. I'm not claiming to know. But these people that want to attack our vice president and president because they stood up for us as a country and called this guy out on his BS, how do you do that? Well, how are you anti-American? And that's anti-American. If you don't support your president, somehow the Marxists have convinced the left that it is okay to be anti-government if the person in charge you don't like. That's not how it works. You should be anti-government all the time, but you support your country. That's how it works. And the Maine governor, I'm going to stop taking out federal taxes. Give that a shot, honey. Watch what happens. Federal officer is going to come in, place you under arrest, place the people involved under arrest. You're going to go to jail. And yeah, go do your thing. Let's see what you do. And I'm all about states' rights. But go do it. Tell me how it works out. It's silly. It's stupid. It's not a real argument. She knows she's not really going to do that. No different than the governor of New Jersey who was a big shot in his meeting. Said, I have an immigrant living above my garage. I said, well, I didn't really mean to have an immigrant because he knew. He's like, yeah, I don't really want to mess with you. The mayor in Colorado. Yeah, I'll help the immigrants. No, you won't, because you're going to go to jail, and you know it. And someone, the lawyer, said to you, you're going to lose this battle. You have no chance. I'm going to end with this. You don't have to agree with me, and I don't have to agree with you, Orange Man Bad. We don't have to agree with that. I support Trump. I support J.D. Vance. I love Vivek. I love Tulsi Gabbard. I love them all. I love Kennedy. I think they're great. And they're Democrats. You can say what you want, but they're Democrats. They just got tired of being lied to like me. Oh, before I end, I want to tell you what I was talking about Bernie. You say the Democrats didn't steal the election 4 years ago, right? Your videos were shut down if you even implied it. And that's the kind of country you want to live in. You want to be like UK that puts people in jail for posting cartoons. Don't live in my country. You're never going to be in power. Or I'll leave the country. I'm not dealing with that. Bernie holds an event in Brooklyn going up against Hillary Clinton. He had like 100,000 people. It was some ridiculous number. It was the biggest political rally in history. Hillary Clinton that same day held an event at a church. It probably held about 100. Watch the videos. They're there. I'm sure they scrubbed them, but I remember this. It's like 150 people would fit in the whole church. She couldn't fill the church. Couldn't fill the church. But 100,000 people went to support Bernie. And then when the votes came in, she won by a landslide. And Bill Maher, that suck up, I met the guy. He's an asshole, but he's ignorant. He thinks because he says a couple good points now, he thinks the past ignorance is. He says, oh, well, people that go to rallies don't necessarily vote. The people who give up their day to wait all day to see the political pundit, the representative that they want, not pundit, representative that they want, would then not go to vote. But the people who can't even be bothered to show up at a Hillary Clinton event, they're going to come out to vote, though. That's the argument. Do you see how ridiculous this is? Can you not see how stupid that sounds? I can't be the only one who sees that. Who's just, well, that's just ridiculous. The person who sits there all day to support the guy is going to make sure he makes it on election day and votes. And somehow she won by a landslide. No different than Biden, who couldn't get 5,000 people in a building, and Trump's putting 100,000 people in a field, and somehow he lost. And somehow 12 million new Democratic votes showed up. More votes than for the first female, black, Asian, whatever president running by a mile. More votes than the first black president in history. That he got the whole country up and ready to go. Everybody was going to vote for a Democrat that year, to support Obama. Everybody loved Obama. And yet somehow the old white guy that nobody really knew or cared about, he got 11 million more votes than both of them. You think I'm kidding? Go look at the charts of the votes. It goes whatever it was, not McCain, who ran for the Democrat? I can't even think of it. It was crap. Then Obama, Biden, and Kamala. And it's Obama's here twice, Kamala's here twice, about the same amount, a little bit higher. And then Biden's all the way up here. And it's just wait, what? Biden doing the COVID, and then now there's all these scams coming out about voter harvesting, and the signatures are the same, and now people are going to jail 4 years later, 5 years later, and is the press touching it? No. There's no substantial evidence of voter fraud. This has been the most secure voter in history. Then why are all these people going to jail? Why is every day somebody's popping up on the news in Arizona, in Massachusetts, in Chicago, all committing voter fraud? All these people that are supposed to be involved in this. That don't click. You know what I mean? Like something's going on here. The press feeds you what they want to feed you. They feed you the part of the video that makes Trump and J.D. Vance look bad. And I wish they would have kept their composure a little better. I do. But to say that they're wrong and that we have to stand with Ukraine against America now, get out of this country. Go live somewhere else. We don't want you here. Thankfully, the majority believes this. And the minority is you people on the left that want to just orange man bad all day. And, ridiculous things like men belong in locker rooms with young girls and men have no advantage over women in sports and all this craziness. And now it's like the hierarchy of oppression where it's, oh, well, you're got black skin, so you're more important than the white person. Well, this one is gay, so that's more important than this one. But you're black and gay. So, well, I'm a trans and and you just keep going up the oppression ladder. And it's the thing about that is, and people on the right have always said this, because there's no logic to your victimhood mentality, eventually you start eating yourself. And then women are fighting against the trans community because the trans community is trying to impede on women's rights. And they say, oh, it's just a handful of people. 2 gold medals went to men in the Olympics. In fighting. If you don't stop it, I'm telling you, Trump saved this country. You guys don't understand. But if you don't stop what's going on right now, we cease to exist in 4 years. So, again, about the burning, because I said I don't like the man anymore. I think he's disgusting. He's bought and paid for. I honestly used to believe he genuinely believed what he said, even if I didn't agree with all of it. I don't agree with a lot of the socialist agenda stuff. I don't agree with everything he had to say. But I love the fact that I felt he genuinely believed what he said. And I didn't believe anybody else did. I think they're all politicians to some extent. $1 trillion, $2 trillion in deficit every year. $1 trillion of service said debt, which is going to go up every year until there's no more money left. Because eventually you run a business that's running a deficit every year, and the debt gets too big. You can't pay your loans. Many companies go out like this. They take out loans, MCA loans, and then they can't keep service the debt, and then it takes their company. What happens to America? Do you think they just keep printing money and everybody just keeps accepting that? The world will just keep accepting, you know what, we're just for another 20 years, we're just going to overspend $3, $4, $5 trillion a year, and you guys are just going to deal with it. No, they're not. They're not. Eventually, hyperinflation kicks in. And now when hyperinflation kicks in and the value of the dollar goes to crap and we can't pay our bonds anymore and people stop buying them and they get downgraded, this is all what happens. If you don't know this is what happens, talk to somebody with an education and learn. All right? Read a book. It's happening to a lot of countries. Usually the IMF has a hand in it. They, they screw up your currency and then they screw over your country. When that happens, Bernie, who pays for Medicare? Who's going to pay for all your pet projects of the poor and the disenchanted and the minorities this and the gay that or whatever your story is, right? Who pays for all that? The starving children in Africa and, all this money that keeps going out and stuff. When we don't have the money anymore, we can't. There's just no more money. What happens to America then? How much, Meals on Wheels goes out? How much aid to poor people goes out? Section 8 and welfare and this and food stamps. How's that going to happen? When hyperinflation hits and you're getting $600 a month in food stamps and your EBT card is $600 used to buy you a whole cart of food and now it buys you what was $100 of food because of hyperinflation, what do we do then? I want an answer. How do you keep this going? How do you keep turning this wheel of freebies to everybody all day, every day? And don't make the mistake about it. Don't come at me with what about corporate greed and corporate welfare? Same thing. Cut it off. Get rid of all that. We give banks $20 billion a year for what? We give fossil fuel companies money for research and development for what? No. But I get it. I'm in the solar industry. They give us money to stimulate that because that's the agenda they want. They want fossil fuels to try new areas to get more oil. Okay, they got to do something. That's what the government does. They can't put a gun to your head, at least they're not supposed to. So they either take your money or they give you money to get you to do what they want. It's that simple. Don't overthink it. That's all it is. That's all they do. We're either going to tax you and take your money, which is theft, or we're going to give you money and you're going to spend it where we tell you to. That's it. They want you to own a home. What do? They give you tax breaks. So everybody buys a home. That's it. How did that happen? Well, homeowners and real estate lobbyists and everything else pushed that agenda. It got through. It became a tax. Boom. There you go. They want you going solar. They chip in 30% of the system, federal money. Here you go. We're going to help you. And now there's other monies in low income areas and energy zones and everything else. We want to get it going. Green New Deal. The problem is it's unsustainable. And I don't believe that people like Bernie or AOC or any of them don't know that. I genuinely believe the Rachel Maddows of the world know they're lying. They know they are and don't care because they're getting paid $20 million a year. And that's the kinds of people that you are siding yourself with. You can attack Elon Musk all you want, all right? Because he pisses people off. Was Elon Musk Green Jesus before he put an R next to his name? Answer yourself that. Was he not the most loved person? He was all about the climate. He was, talking about if we don't do something, this and that, the world's going to end. Like, not the world's going to end, but it's going to be problems and we have to make adjustments. And he was never like a extremist like that. But he said, this has to be done. This is a good thing for the country. And then he put an R next to his name and bought Twitter. And then he was the enemy. And then everything he did, you saw the smear campaigns. Massage therapists going, oh, he tried to touch me or offered me money. Yeah, and everybody acts, clutch my pearls again. Oh my God, he's such a bad man. He's got to quit his CEO job at Tesla because he offered money to a massage therapist to satisfy him while he's laying there. Oh, do you live in that world? You live in kindergarten class? Do you think that's how it works? It's like, come on. You're a massage therapist for a billionaire. Come on. Do I got to say it? Stop. Can we just... What Zelensky did was terrible. Terrible for his country. Lives are going to be lost for what he did. And I'm pretty sure he's going to retrace his steps. I am. Imagine where we make a deal with Putin first. And then the deal with Zelensky goes to crap and it's not as good a deal anymore. Maybe we want 70%. I don't know. Kamala says, Trump will end the war by surrendering to Russia with this ego trip. Notice these people don't fight in these wars. They make money off them, but they don't fight in them. Your children do. My children do. Americans fight in those wars. Our taxes pay for those wars. And our inflation that is hitting us every year is because of those wars. Because we spend $1 trillion on the Pentagon. Guys, we got to stop with the lies. You got to stop falling victim to this stuff. Listen to what I wrote or what I said in the beginning of the video. Putin did not act in a vacuum. It doesn't mean he's a good guy. It doesn't mean I agree with him invading. But let's not pretend he didn't have cause. Because that's only pretend. That's not real. I gave you multiple examples of cause. And he's an authoritarian dictator in his country. So to keep power, he has to show strength. And if we keep pushing up to his borders, then his people go, you can't protect us. So you're leaving him no choice. I got a good one too. Maybe we should talk to the North Korean leader. They got rare earth elements there too, but I don't know if China's going to let us. They can't mine them. They ain't got the resources. Let's start getting them. 75% of the rare earth elements in the world are in China right now. They're not actually all in China, but the ones being mined are in China. 3/4 of them. And now they're restricting shipping them to us. So we're not going to have access to a couple. Do your research. Forget what they were called, but there was like 4 or 5 of them. They're not shipping no more. And we need them. We need them bad. We need them for things. I'm sorry if I call you guys morons, but at some point, you got to start thinking for yourself. You got to stop just, the talking head on the TV told me this, and I'm going to get all triggered and upset and support it. Take a step back every single time. I have videos I do for TikTok, and I stay positive on those videos. I don't get into the rants and stuff for politics because it's not the brand I'm doing there. It's a slightly different channel. But I get frustrated because even with money, people are just dumb. They just say things that the whole world is people say, oh, I can't do this. I can't do that because of this. This, check this box means it's just stupid. We need as a country to support what's happening. What's the worst that could happen? What we support Trump and Vance, stop fighting with each other and just say, yeah, strip it down, get rid of all the crap. Let's see where we end up. What's the worst that could happen? It's indefensible to not strip down the federal government. It is so overbloated. Biden added so many jobs to it. All right. It is indefensible. The Pentagon. They were just talking about the governor, the one Senator Collins, how she gave the Navy, they got the Navy $12 billion to build submarines. No submarines, and nobody knows where the $12 billion is. They don't know. I don't know what happened to it. That doesn't bother anybody else. Nobody. Nobody's like, well, I mean, $12 billion. We lost $6 billion we sent to Ukraine. Nobody knows where it went. But we didn't have $5 billion to rebuild Maui. Think about that. We lost, Joe Rogan talked about it. We lost $6 billion. It's unaccounted for. Nobody knows where it went. Think how rich these people are getting with our money. But we didn't have money for American citizens in Maui, and the scum like the Oprah Winfreys of the world go in there and try to buy up land. Come on, man. You got to see this. You're voting and fighting against your own best interests. And I know my friend who's very intelligent is like, oh no, Trump's a dictator. Okay. I don't even care. Hasn't done anything though, right? You keep saying what you're scared he's going to do. You said that last time. Hasn't done anything. Turns out he had reason to be upset about the election because what happened didn't make sense. Nobody wants to talk about the hockey puck of Democratic votes after like 2 a.m. How all of a sudden everything went this way. To give you another example of voter fraud and what it looks like, go back to 2000. See, it's not a Democrat-Republican for me. Right is right, wrong is wrong. That's it. It's reality. I don't know what happened, but look what happened in Florida with George Bush, right? His brother's the governor. All kinds of laws were broken. It's undeniable. Hanging chads, this and that. The media tells you Gore won Florida. They called it. Then all of a sudden, because the Republicans knew, to get their war that they wanted in Iraq, they needed a puppet. They needed George Bush. They needed him in office with Cheney at his side because Cheney's a neocon and he would make it happen. He's a war hawk. There's this all, you got to see how it was planned out. Guys, when you're talking about, oh, what happened? Sorry, guys, my lights went out. When you're talking about trillions of dollars, nothing's an accident. Nothing is an accident. They put George Bush in power. And there's all these irregularities with the voting in Florida. And the Supreme Court chose to not hang up the election. I don't know if they made the right decision. I don't know. That's a philosophical question almost, to be honest. The media told you, well, you know, a lot of military votes are coming in for George Bush. He's getting a very high percentage of military votes. The military votes didn't even get counted that day. It's not true. A handful, that was it. They all come in over the next week or two. You know what I mean? Like, everybody knows that. They get counted after the fact. They're like one of the last things. They're mail-in ballots. They're one of the last things. They don't swing the vote. It doesn't even make, the numbers don't even make sense. There's like, what is there, 100,000 people in the whole military in Florida, and there's 7 million people live in the state, or I forget what the numbers are, but it was like a big deal. And if Bush gets 70% of the military vote, that means he gets an extra 20,000 votes. But the media, find the video, sat there and told you, oh yeah, well, the military vote's coming in for George Bush. It's really going the other direction now because they had to win Florida and they knew it. So they said, all right, Jeb, make it happen. You know what I mean? What did he do? How did he do it? I don't know. You know what I mean? Things got destroyed. You know, like, how many times is it going to be so obvious that the tin hat guys are telling the truth for you to take a step back and go, I don't believe anything the media tells me at this point. I mean, they told you there was weapons of mass destruction in Iraq. We invaded Iraq, destroyed a country. You know, 1 million people died, soldiers died. We spent trillions of dollars. Billions disappeared from there too, unaccounted for. Nobody knows where it went. And then they found out they were lying. They found out that the Bush team outed a CIA agent. That's treason. You get hung for that. Nothing. Where's the outrage? Nothing. They just blasted the person on the media. The media played their part and made that person out to be the bad guy. Him and his wife. Seriously? You know what I mean? The people that are, you know, in the, whatever you want to call it, other countries fighting for our country and working for the CIA, doing what they do, they're the bad guys. And don't get me wrong, there's plenty of bad CIA agents. That's clear. Because we're no longer run by an American government. We're run by a world government, so to speak. That's bureaucracies and pulling strings and everything else. And they keep showing you examples of it and you still don't want to see it. Because you just don't want to believe the world works the way it does. You're the same idiots that believed one person shot our president from 200 yards away and got 3 shots off, including 2 bullseyes in 7 seconds. Look, I understand that you don't know everything. You don't know how the world works. You don't know that that argument in the White House happens all the time, but it doesn't happen in front of the media. That's just not acceptable. That's not how they do it. I understand you may have never shot a single bolt action rifle in your life, but I can assure you, maybe a handful of shooters in the world could have pulled that off, although many have tried and failed. Every single one has failed. No one's ever actually done it. But let's just say it's possible. There's one guy out there who's amazing. Lee Harvey Oswald wasn't that guy. The guy that was sitting there screaming to the cameras, I'm a patsy, I'm being set up, then gets killed, and nobody goes, I wonder. Like, come on, man. You guys can't be that dumb. You can't be. You can't really believe that what happened with Zelensky wasn't planned. That whole thing was planned. The immediate responses, everybody had their press releases going. The leftist media jumped all over it because they know the war's about to end and their gravy train's about to stop. It's your money, you idiot. At some point, you got to want to keep it. I don't understand. I don't get how we could be this dumb. I do get it, but I don't. It's an algorithm. It's a program. You're getting fed this information. They know what they're doing. Research it. There's guys that have talked about it. One guy, he worked for Facebook. He talked about how I helped write the algorithm on how to make people believe what I want them to believe. It's all a psyop. It's not conspiracy theory. It's not, they don't even hide it. It's true. They admit it. I don't know. I hope we figure this out, man. I hope this war ends. I hope people stop attacking the president on everything. He could freaking break into he could save children from a burning building and they would attack him by his choices in children or something. You know, like, it's just ridiculous. I know he's half a buffoon. He's an 80-year-old dude, been rich his whole life. Yeah, he's a little obnoxious. He's arrogant. Okay. He sometimes speaks off. I don't know what to say to that. I don't want to. His vernacular's off a little sometimes. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I get it. I'm not arguing. I speak off sometimes too. But I definitely sound more intelligent than he does. But he's got more money than me, so whatever. But at some point, we got to start arguing the facts, not feelings, and not what we're being told by people we know lie to us. If you already know the media lies to you, why are you listening to anything they say just because they're saying what you want to hear? Your cognitive dissonance is being fed. That's crazy. Come on, guys. We stand behind our president. We stand behind our country, and we do what's right for America. Our leaders have been selling us out to the world forever. Forever. It's just been happening. And finally, we have someone whose whole agenda is America first. And people are publicly attacking that agenda. Wait, what? And I get it. Look, if you work for, you know, whatever, the Treasury Department, USA, whatever, and you've been there for a year, but you're not, you know, tenured in or whatever, and you lose your job and you're about to add one on, oh, he's about to have a kid and it's so painful. Yeah, that sucks. I get it. You never should have been hired in the first place. Yep. I get it. And I feel for you. I really do. And let's find a way to get them a job. Let's do something to get them training or get them into corporate world or something. I don't think we should desert these people because they didn't do anything wrong. Some of them. You know what I mean? But some of them really came to get a job and work and want to work for the government and they look forward to that job. Why do they want to work for the government? You don't have to work too hard. The pay's not terrible. Decent pension. You're guaranteed your position and your check. There's reasons for it, you know? But, you know, we're not all meant to be entrepreneurs. That's my thing. I get it. We have to stop fighting over things that aren't true. We know they're not true. And stop giving your damn opinion unless you know what you're talking about. If you don't know that we agreed not to move NATO east when Russia agreed to allow the consolidation of Germany, then don't give an opinion because you don't know what you're talking about. If you don't know, we did move it east and then set missile silos and defense systems and everything else, pushing against Russia. Then don't give your opinion. And you can't give your opinion and pretend none of that mattered. You don't know we put Zelensky in power? Come on. Stop, because there was a pro-Russian leader in there. We had to get him out. And he was stealing a lot from the Ukrainians. They found out. Both things could be right. He could be the democratically elected person that should have stayed in power and also be a criminal stealing money. That's what happens. I'm gonna let you guys go. That was over an hour of talking. I had to get off that my chest. I have spent the last 2 days looking at TikTok videos and Instagram, and I don't ever do that. I stay away from all that political crap, but I cannot believe how stupid we are as a country. I cannot believe we are fighting that our president and vice president and cabinets are wrong for defending us. I don't. Ukraine does not come before America. What is wrong with you people? I don't care. Remember what happened with 9/11? They, 3 buildings fell on 2 planes. Yeah. We all came together and agreed that's our enemy. Osama bin Laden. They knew who he was right after the planes hit. It was amazing. The guy giving the interview in New York, 15 minutes after the planes hit, tells who it is. And it turns out he's like George Bush's cousin or some crap. Watch the video on it. It's crazy. It's not how it works, guys. This is not how it works. But anyway, that's planting information. They told us Building 7 was collapsing before it did. Said it collapsed. It was just timing off. Everybody just overlooks it. Firemen tell you about explosions in the basements of the towers. Everybody overlooks it. There was a company working on the elevator 6 months before the explosion forever. They were working for months. This is not a conspiracy. This is true. What were they doing? Fixing the elevators. Maybe they were. Maybe they were planting things. Who knows? Because it takes a little while to do what they did. But that worked out. The Pentagon gets hit by a plane. There's not one video of the plane. You see the picture of like what looks like a nose and then the explosion. What? Where's the middle frames? The frames don't work that fast. When you see a plane go by, it's every tick I'm making is a frame. Because the cameras go, 240 shots a second or something like that. These are high quality 4K in front of the Pentagon cameras. These are not Walmart freaking parking lot cameras. Why? Nobody sees the problem with that. Nobody. Come on. The hole was like this big, and the Pentagon was like 12 feet wide. But somehow a 747 went through it. That's like 200 feet wide. And then they show you the building collapsing 8 hours later and say, oh, look at the hole it made. That wasn't the hole. Do your research. They get away with this because we fight. Because they trick us into believing Orange Man bad, no matter what he does. And sometimes he is bad, and sometimes he's not. But on one side, that doesn't exist. It's Orange Man bad. And you got these people, these Marxist, radical, just horrible individuals that do not care about getting their money. The AOCs of the world. I thought she was hot. And she seemed like I want to fight for the people. But then it turned out she's just another thief. She's just getting paid. She's worth like $30 million now. Look into that. How's that possible? She hadn't done anything. She didn't own a business. She never wrote a book. She did nothing. How's she worth $30 million? Where'd the money come from? Nobody wants to know. Yeah, they're exposing all these people. They're going to kill. They're going to unalive Elon. That's going to happen. And we're all going to pretend that we don't know who did it and why they did it. I mean, we don't know exactly who did it, but we know it's the, deep state of the government, the people that are making their money. All right, guys, I'm sorry. I said I was going to go. I'm going to let you go. If you watch this whole video, please leave a comment. Most people won't. I didn't do it for people to watch. I did it to get it off my chest. But I want somebody to challenge me. Tell me which facts I claimed were true, were not true. And then I supported my position that I support my president for standing up to us and being pissed at Zelensky for showing up like a piece of crap with no tie on and then changing his mind and trying to argue in front of the press to get some kind of response and some kind of nonsense to try to make Trump look bad. I'm sorry. I'm not supporting that. I want the people that protect my country and my people and my family and my children that are in the military and so forth. So you can argue that, we got to be behind Ukraine and not our government. Go right ahead. I just don't want you here. I wish you would leave. Anti-American, I don't want you in my country. I'm sorry. I don't want you here. And that doesn't mean you can't fight with the government. Doesn't mean you can't protest. Doesn't mean you can't disagree. I'm a libertarian. I want you have a right to do all of that. You know what I mean? I don't want censorship. I don't want that. But when it comes to times like this, where there's war and stuff like that, you got to either side with your team or get off the team. That's it. So I would love for somebody to come up with something that I said was wrong. In that whole rant, I didn't really give a lot of opinions. You can argue my opinions. We can definitely do that. But the facts I gave that led up to this. My date might have been a little off. Maybe we bombed Serbia in 98, not 99. I could be mistaken. I forget how it worked. But it happened. You know what I mean? You tell me where I'm wrong. And then if you agree that everything I just said was right, all the facts that led up to Putin invading Ukraine, because, we kept pushing, how do you come up with the conclusion that Trump bad because he's trying to end the war? I don't care what we got to do. What, you want to keep shipping money over there? Is that what you want? You want Ukrainians to keep dying? Because I guarantee you they don't want to do that. They don't care about Crimea. They don't want to do that. I guarantee it. They want the war to end. It's ugly. 600,000 people died. You entitled, disgusting Americans with your, it don't bother me. I just pay for it, and I'll deal with that. I'll pay the extra $1 for my eggs and stuff, and $1 for my gas, and $1 for my car, and $1 for my clothes. And it adds up because that's where the money's going, over there. And then they're stealing it. They're not even using it. They're not even using the weapons to fight Russia. Some of them, but nowhere near what they're sent over. They're reselling it on the black market. Tucker Carlson's going to do a whole show about it. And they'll get attacked by the media. He'll say it's not true, and he'll show proof. No, it's not true. He's a Russian propagandist because he went to Russia and showed Russia, showed a supermarket, showed the people. Just because it's an uncomfortable fact doesn't mean it's not a fact. So that's what I hope to see. Somebody watches this whole video, or even part of it, and then tries to correct me so we can start an actual dialogue. Because I'm fed up. I'm fed up with these lies. I'm fed up with this, you drink the Kool-Aid. Okay, well, what part of what I said wasn't true? They don't have an answer. Then you're not a serious person. It's not a valid argument. All right, guys. Well, that's about as much uncommon sense I got in me today. I hope you guys have a good night. I really do hope you guys start thinking for yourself. If anybody's listening to me right now, just do your research. Don't think the way they want you to. Like, how many times do you got to be lied to before you take a step back and go, okay, I got to do my own research. There's just something's not right here. That's why I stopped supporting Bernie and the Democrats. I'm a white male. I'm a straight white male. So they hate me. My opinion doesn't matter. Everything wrong with the country is it's ridiculous. So of course that's not going to work. That's why they lost, and they're going to keep losing now. But then they just kept attacking the country and kept lying. They lied about COVID. They lied about Wuhan. They lied. I mean, Jesus, you could go for days. All the lies. Honestly, you could just keep going. The Russian propagandist stuff. Oh, sorry. My lights are going out because my truck is not running. So I'm just talking. I don't even know where the button is now. All right, guys. I'll talk to you later. All right. Everybody have a good day.